Hi, Fergus. Welcome to Returnix Podcast.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So happy to have you here. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, I'm a writer, a British writer. I live in London in the UK. I have been for many years an actor and a comedian, so I've written a lot of comedy for British TV. And over the last few years, I've started to write books as well.
Yeah.
And I write mysteries, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
I,
you,
I guess about it, I do.
yes, you do. You write some mysteries. They're not too gory, but there's a serial killer in this one. So if you like a little bit of thrillers, but and the mystery aspect of it, this was the listen. I'm not the only murderer in my retirement home, which is your latest book. It's about a retirement home, so older characters, and one of them is fresh out of prison, love after lockup. She just needs to find a place to land after prison, and she's a serial killer. And well, somebody dies, and she may or may not be the killer. Well, we know she's not the killer because the person dies when she was watching it. But everyone's suspect. Everyone is trying to figure out who work in law enforcement of some sort or crime writers or involved in this area. So talk to us about the seed of inspiration and what led you to write the story.
Yeah, I wanted to have some fun with the cozy crime
Yeah.
genre. I think cozy crime books are a lot of fun. I love a mystery, but I thought, what would happen if I threw a serial killer into the mix? Can it still be cozy? Can it still be enjoyable?
Yeah.
Publishers Weekly reviewed it and they call it a cracked cozy. I thought that was quite. That I looked it up. Apparently, that's. I don't think that phrase has ever been used before. I thought, oh, that kind of works for the book. So yeah, it's about a retired serial killer who goes to live in a luxury retirement home. Somebody dies. Now she has to find out who did the murder to clear her name.
Yeah.
And what makes that difficult is that pretty much everyone who lives there is also is some kind of retired investigator.
Yeah.
Thoughts? Yeah.
So, what was your research experience into this crime fiction, cozy crime? Because you're dealing with people who work in law enforcement and politics, and you have serial killer. You have all these different characters that are unique and stand alone, and they all have to come together in the story to make sense of the process.
Yeah, I mean, I knew I was going to have a retired serial killer, and I knew that they had to be likable because I wanted them to be my protagonist, and I wanted the reader to want to spend time with them. And when I was sort of preparing to write, I thought, well, I should watch some. Obviously, I've watched them before. We all have. But I thought, oh, I should watch some serial killer documentaries on Netflix and stuff. But as soon as you go in, you go, oh, well, actually, serial killers, they're not that likable.
No.
And real serial killers, my serial killer is a lady. Real serial killers, they tend to be men.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, they're incredibly dark. And I thought, I don't know if this is helpful. So, although the book has a lot of truth to it, I think in terms of characters' feelings about their lives and stuff, it's also a sort of heightened story that I think it's a bit of an escape. We're not expecting this to happen in the real world. So, there are many great, gritty crime novels that will give you some kind of insight into the mind of a serial killer or how a real police investigation would work. This is not one of those books.
Yeah.
So it's not research heavy, if I'm totally honest. No.
Yeah, well, I love your serial killer, the way she killed people and the way the rights and the reasons why, and even the mind of it. Because we get into her mind, we get the other characters trying to investigate her and trying to understand it. I was like, oh, I can see it. Well, I support women's wrong rights. She did wrong in this life. And some of these men deserved it. Like it was
Yeah, I think
part of
we
it.
I'm glad you said that. I think I wanted readers to feel like, okay, maybe I wouldn't have done the same thing that she did,
Yeah,
but I can. No, she's not just randomly killing any old person.
yeah. No,
Yeah.
she needed anger management, maybe, and better coping skills,
Well,
but she journaled those and she had other places where she was able to create that space. So supported. Some of them deserve it, if we're clearly. And she was smart. She was scrappy. She was not like a one time, same time of serial killer. She killed in different ways. And I think that's like a fun little tidbit. Like she didn't have one signature move. and she had to figure out as it was happening.
Yeah, so we follow the story of the mystery that she's investigating. But I thought, well, you can't, if you're reading this, and I was sort of curious as I was writing this, I was thinking about this serial killer. It would be a shame to miss out on some of her murders. So
Yeah.
there's a few flashbacks, her thinking back to some of her murders. It's not the bulk of the book, but like it would be a shame to write a book about a serial killer and not have her kill some people. So we get to look back on that. But yeah,
So tips for a transition to book writing from actor, comedian to now adding this to your portfolio career. What led you to start writing? Was it a pandemic project or was it something you always pursue or just added on?
I had a really weird route to writing novels, but I always wrote a lot ever since I was a kid. I was a comedian. I still do that sometimes. So you're obviously always writing material when you're doing that, and a lot of comedy on TV. So being creative and writing things was something that I've done for a long time. I did fiddle around with writing novels for myself, just writing prose, writing chapters, seeing where it would go. And like with everyone, really, I think the first time you try and write a novel, it's not great.
Yeah.
Maybe some crack it first time. But yeah, I did that. And then weirdly enough, I did this character online, this sort of comedy character that took off a little bit in the UK. And that character, he was sort of a middle class dad. And I said one day that I was in character, I said, oh, I'm writing a crime novel. And I started to read out extracts from his crime novels, and they were really deliberately bad. It was like parody, spoof, really
Yeah.
bad crime novel. Every line was a joke. And off the back of that, I got offered a book deal to write that by books in the UK to write a full novel. So I ended up writing two sort of parody crime novels. They were called Once Upon a Crime and Murder at Crime Manor. These were it's hard to describe. The closest thing would be, I guess, like Naked Gun if it was a book.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just deliberately bad and joke. And they had a sort of a small audience who really loved them. But this time around, I wanted to kind of actually, it's still funny, but I wanted to explore characters a little bit deeper, and
Yeah.
rather than deliberately writing bad fiction, I thought I'd have a go at writing some good fiction.
Yes. Sometimes you just have to try, but I think in some ways there's a market for not just bad writing, but parody or satire of some of the fiction, some of the areas that we looked at. We need laughter
Yeah.
more than ever. I think we're just in a weird time, so we might as well just laugh. Don't take yourself too seriously. And I think that's probably. And sometimes when you think it's bad writing, and actually it's honing the skill. Obviously, you're delivering jokes, and that's being a comedian is not an easy path. You have to put yourself out there. You have to hone in and try to test things out. And I think in some ways that those books probably led to this one in many ways.
I think if you look at all the types of books that are doing well at the moment, most of them seem to be a bit of an escape.
Yes.
People are looking for an escape. And it wasn't that I cynically decided, aha, this is where the sales are. It was more a case of, I think that's what I wanted to do when I was writing. I find it quite depressing researching real serial killers. So, let's have fun writing a cozy one.
Yes. I love this. Well, in life, what kind of books do you tend to read? Do you read fiction, nonfiction?
I read very widely. I'm very sort of promiscuous in terms of
Yeah.
the things that I read. So I tend to, a lot of literary fiction, I do read a lot of nonfiction. I also love a good autobiography of a sports star or actor or something. Those are really fun, easy reads. I listen
Yeah.
to a lot of audiobooks. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I read a fairly big variety of stuff.
Yeah. Are there
Yeah.
any books that you recommend our listeners to pick up, like that you have?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I was, as soon as somebody, because obviously I knew the premise of this podcast before I did it. So I thought so exciting when somebody says, what are your favorite books? And then it's really difficult.
Yeah, that is the most difficult question. I cannot answer that question myself. So that's a very difficult question.
But I feel like a pressure because I want to do it right. Because I've always said throughout, if you ask me anytime what's your favorite book, I've always said in my mind, it's East of Eden by John Steinbeck.
Yeah.
But then I was looking back and I was thinking, well, I read that 25 years ago. And I don't really remember it because I don't reread books.
Yeah.
So I should reread it. Maybe I won't enjoy it this time around. There's a real recency bias to the books that I'm
Yeah.
recommending. I've actually got them beside me. This one is The Beast Thing by Paul Murray. I don't know. Did you read that book?
It's been recommended when
It's
it
been
time.
recommended.
So I'm like, oh, you're actually the third person saying. I'm like, yeah, I should pick it up.
Right.
Tell me when it's done. Where should I pick it up?
I read it like a year ago, maybe. I think it's the best book. Currently, I think it's the best book I've ever read.
Yeah.
It's so easily readable, easy to read, and yet it's kind of literary. It's about this family around the time of did you guys call it the credit crunch in the States? When in sort of 2008, when there was a
The
big recession
recession. Yeah.
after the subprime mortgage thing. And this family is in Ireland, and I know Ireland was hit really bad by that. And you've got the family, and you'll have a long section with one character. So it starts with the daughter. There's a teenage daughter and son, and then the mother and father. And you start for a long time, you stay with the daughter and you see what concerns her and her life. And then you go to each of the main characters in that family, and the whole family is in crisis because they're being hit by the financial crash. But obviously, the teenage daughter isn't worried about that. She's worried about romance and her friendship. And the son, I think maybe he's 11 or 12, and he's worried about video games and whatever. And then each member of the family has got real concerns. And then the mother is just an unbelievable character. And all of her sections, she goes back through her history and how she ended up marrying the dad. And her whole section, it doesn't have any punctuation at all. No, I know, right?
No,
So it
it's a
doesn't have
stream of consciousness. It's like you're just gonna write it.
yeah, it's just but I was describing it to my girlfriend, and because I would have imagined I would find that unreadable. There's not even a comma in the whole long section of hers, but it really sort of you get completely in her head because she's sort of really volatile and I guess scatty, and you really feel like that as you're as you're
Yeah.
reading it. Well, then obviously I don't want to give any spoilers, but it really builds it's to an amazing climax. And at the moment, I think it's the best book I've ever read.
Well, I'm adding that to my TBR, and you totally sold it. So I am excited to read it, even though I'm a little skeptical about to that recession because I did lift it. It's part of. I think
It's
it's for
not the
the
recession at all. It's not about the recession at all,
yeah,
but
but it's that era. It's been interesting. I think the past 25 years has been such an interesting time, at least in America. We had 9/11, then 2008, then we got 2016, then we got 2020, 2025, and plenty of mass shootings and plenty of all the. It's just been interesting, like to revisit the same time periods of time. Be like, where were you in that place?
yeah,
At that time it was actually my late 20s. Yeah, late 20s, trying to figure out, like, make a sense in the world and uncertainty of what it will look like.
yeah,
It hasn't gotten easier, unfortunately.
yeah. Things get crazier by the year.
Yeah.
But
So, Fergus, tell us where we can find you online.
I'm on all of the platforms. I'm on Instagram as Dr. Fergus Craig. Although I'm not a doctor. I don't know why I'm called that, but I'm called Dr. Fergus Craig on Instagram. I'm on X as Fergus Craig, and TikTok and everywhere really.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on the show.
Hey, thanks so much for having me.
Thanks for listening to the What to Read Next. For more book lists, cozy reads, and library tips, visit the whattoreadnextblog.com. Your next great read might be waiting there. Are you an author, publisher, or book-related business looking to reach passionate readers? What to Read Next podcast is a perfect place to connect with an engaged audience of romance and mystery lovers who are always on the hunt for their next great read. Now, we're offering sponsorship opportunities. Whether you're launching a new book, promoting an upcoming release, showcasing a bookish product or services, we can help you get the word out. Let's work together to bring your books or businesses to readers who are ready to discover something new. Please visit watchreadexblog.com/sponsorships to learn more or reach out to chat about the perfect sponsorship or package for you. Thank you much for listening. Your next great reader is waiting for you.